And yeah, this is honestly, I didn't know I'd ever see Jimmy Dore stoop to this level, hawking cryptocurrency, promoting Bitcoin, and not even like it would have been one thing to be promoting Bitcoin in like 2017. When was the big Bitcoin hype?
Bro, we should have seen through it long before then. Let's be real.
No, I'm just saying, like, at that point, at least it might have been financially a good decision to invest in. Like, even if you put leftism aside, even if you put your ethics aside, like, that actually might have been a smart investment to make at some point, right?
There was a lot of people did lose a lot of fucking money. Here's why it was for a little bit a good investment, because like JP Morgan Chase and all of these big companies for the first time decided to get behind Bitcoin, right? So for when we were in high school, Gavin, when we first probably found out about Bitcoin, it was because that's how everybody was buying weed on the dark web, right? So you bought your Bitcoin, and then, you know, sometimes you would have to wait a little longer because our mutual friend that was, you know, negotiating all that for us would be like, no, Bitcoin is really fucking expensive right now. I can't buy to get back in. We got to wait until it comes back down, and then I can get more Bitcoin and, you know, do the work that way. That was the only reason that anybody used Bitcoin in high school, was just to buy like ecstasy and weed and shit. But then a bunch of corporate institutions realized that they could do what's called a pump and dump, right? And so they artificially inflate the value of the asset, because here's why Bitcoin sucks for lesson number one for everybody, because I know this is really confusing stuff, but I want everybody to understand this. They talk about it, how it's like completely free and liberated because it's not tethered to the government. This is a libertarian trap, okay? Because do you guys understand, if it's not tethered to a government, you know, a fiat currency is what it's called, okay, then it can be controlled by any number of small cabal of people, okay? So let's just say for math that there's 100 billion Bitcoins, okay? If me and all of my friends have 80 billion of those Bitcoins, we can control how many we give back out to the market, and we can artificially control the market. Now, that's too much power for the billionaire class to have. Okay, way too much power. And any leftist will understand that immediately right off of the bat. But what Jimmy's going to do is he's going to sweep all of that under the rug and talk about all the bad things that the government does. And like, here is an alternative to that. Okay, that it is the literal fucking snake oil sale that hardcore anarcho-capitalist libertarians make to people, and that's how they do the whole bait and switch about the government, right? They tell you something that the government is doing badly, right? And then they say, oh, we should, you know, and say the government is accountable to the people like 15%, right? Not enough. It needs to be 100%. No arguments from me here. I'm a leftist, okay? But then they're like, oh no, let's give let's make the private business in charge of this, and then they will be 0% accountable to the public. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that's a bad idea, guys? So anyway, just to get that started, people are like, what's bad about Bitcoin? For one, do you want the rich people to control how much the dollar is worth, how much the currency that you can use is worth? Do you think it's better to have like 5 people in the world controlling all of the value of the dollar or the currency system? No, that's a horrible idea. We haven't even gotten into its environmental impact, you know, the tech behind it, any of that. But just as a little precursor for everybody, for anybody who's like, I don't know what cryptocurrency is.
Right, and I agree with that. All that I was saying was there was a point in time, probably like 5 or 6 years ago, where it actually might have been a smart financial investment to get like invested in Bitcoin. A lot of people got super rich that way. The point I was making is that that ship has sailed many years ago. So for you to now be hawking and promoting cryptocurrency in the year 2023, when pretty much everyone has come to terms with the fact that it's a scam, I mean, I just think that's extra stupid.
Right. And a bunch of galaxy brain people are telling me that no one controls Bitcoin. There's no centralized power structure. Let me tell you how a centralized power structure emerges, right? How can I buy Bitcoin? I can buy it with US dollar. Guess what, guys? The power structures of the US dollar now will transpose itself on an unregulated currency. Okay. And also, it's not currency, it's an asset. Okay. But you guys didn't go to business school, so that would take me a while to explain to you. And that's not a flex. I hated business school for every fucking second of it. But now I know how they cheat everybody else. This is an asset. Okay. It's like you don't go to the store and buy groceries with your car, right? Like, yes, your car has value and it can be exchanged for cash and it can go up and down in value, but that doesn't make it currency. Okay. Bitcoin is an asset. It's basically like owning a stock and trying to shop with it in terms of like efficacy. And if you look at countries that have tried to run their entire nation off of it, it's been an abject failure. Okay. El Salvador had I believe it was El Salvador, had a Bitco bro president that thought that he was going to, put them on the map this way. It devastated their entire fucking economy. Okay.
That Bitcoin bro president who's being advertised on Jimmy Dore's Guess hat, Bukel 2024. And actually Matt Binder post, Jimmy Dore's guest, Max Kaiser, is wearing a Bukele 2024 hat, a reference to El Salvador's Bitcoin-loving authoritarian president, who's not only known for his love of Bitcoin, but also known for having jailed around 2% of its entire adult population, which results in the highest incarceration rate in the world. That's who's the guest of honor on Jimmy Dore Show to hype up cryptocurrency, which again, at this point in time, 2023, we're not talking about 2016 anymore. We're talking about a point in time where pretty much everyone has come to terms with and realizes the fact that Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, it's a fucking scam either way. Let's take a look at what Jimmy and his guest had to say on the subject matter.
Thank you, along with Stacy Herbert. Thank you so much for being our guest, Max, taking time to explain what Bitcoin is all about. It's actually really important. It's not just a fun financial thing for rich guys. It's actually something that's going to be necessary for activists. And anybody who wants to organize against the establishment is going to need Bitcoin. And I think it's the future. And so thanks for coming on and helping everybody understand it. Take care, Max.
I wrote a piece on Huffington Post 8 years ago called "Bitcoin is for Activists."
Really?
Got no attention.
Okay, well,
I did a piece. I've been anyway. Well, we're out of time, so we'll catch up again sometime.
I got to get back in here immediately because look, guys, literally Gavin and I's generation, I have known about Bitcoin forever, like for fucking, I don't know, 13 years. Like it's always been around. I remember when I worked at the movie theater. Okay, some guy asked me if I would take Bitcoin, and I was like, "No, dude, this isn't fucking the dark web." Okay, I literally remember at AMC, a guy tried to pay me in Bitcoin one time. It was like that's probably my first interaction with a human about it, outside of like our very niche like friend group, right? And then there was that movie Dope that came out, and then that really started to get people thinking, "Oh shit, you can do this." On the deep web, and that blew a lot of people's cover for sure. They started cracking down on that. They started looking at the packages that were coming through the mail with a little more scrutiny. And then it was only after that, it was like 2017 when it just exploded in popularity. Everybody was talking. And then there were all the altcoins that blew up, and there was all the not triage. What's it called? Fuck, I forget the names for all this business shit. It's like when you basically just constantly trade from one currency to another. Arbitraging is what it's called. Excuse me. When you like go from one currency to another, and then you like make your money on the margins because you've leveraged it to all hell and you've got your mortgage of your house fucking wrapped up in all this. And yeah, a lot of people became billionaires. A lot of people also lost their fucking ass. It was entirely unregulated. It was a casino style capitalism, but a crypto casino, right? To borrow some language from our good friend of the show, Matt Taibbi. It's a complete scam, guys. Like, yeah, you can get rich at the horse race, but most people are going to lose their fucking ass. And the fact that it can be controlled so much by the whales. Okay, so and you guys are like, oh, there's no centralized power system. Yes, he who holds the most crypto, the most Bitcoin, the most US dollars, which you can use to buy crypto, now controls the market because it is true that you get fucking crypto for mining it, right? But at the rate now, you have to be mining a fuckload of it, which means you're burning a shit ton of power, horrible for the environment, but you also have to bet on it going up because for the most part, the people that are mining cryptocurrency, they're not getting rich off of it, right? This is something that's going on in like impoverished countries, or you'll see the fucking, viral TikTok versions of like one guy who was fracking and had it set up to, do you remember that video that was going around of the literal fracking natural gas pump that was connected to a bunch of the graphics boards, which I don't know exactly what the science is behind that, but that's what they use. They use graphics cards like you would for video games. That's what drove the fucking cost of those up through the roof, if you want to talk about that. Anyway, all this kind of stuff points to bad fucking news, and there are way smarter guys to listen to than us that will really break it down line by line by line. Like Matt Binder, who you just put up a tweet of, has a great fucking I think it's called Scam Economy. I've listened to that a bunch of times whenever there's something like esoteric that I want to get other people's thoughts on, because I've watched the Bitcoin thing go down for a long time. Gavin can attest to it. I've always held it down on this fucking podcast that it's a scam, and I think that we just the trajectory of it over the last 2 or 3 years has proven that every single time they hype it up again, it just falls completely out of the bottom. I remember when it was 50K a Bitcoin and people were like, get in now before it reaches 100K, which was never going to happen. And now it's back down to like 25,000 USD per Bitcoin. Which is still a fuckload of money. But it's not regulated. It could disappear overnight. And it's just not a good place for the left to be putting their activism, frankly. I think it's a complete red herring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's specifically insidious about this line of logic from Dore and his guest here is that they're not just saying like, oh, this is a good financial investment. They're not just saying, oh, if you want to make some money, here's a way to do it. No, they're trying to rope in leftist values and act like, oh, this is actually something that you're going to want to get involved in if you're an activist. Like, this is your best friend if you're an anti-establishment activist. If you're on the left, then, oh, you're going to want to get involved in Bitcoin. It kind of reminds me, actually, of that really shitty Spike Lee ad. Do you remember that Spike Lee ad where he was trying to sell cryptocurrency to like the black community and marginalized people in general, acting like it was somehow an alternative from the financial systems that they had been excluded from? Do you remember that, Zach? Because I wanted to play it real quick if you don't.
I actually don't. So go ahead and play that guy for me. But that's going to break my heart. What's going on, Spike?
Our currency is not current. Old money, as rich as it looks, is flat.
I'm embarrassed for it.
Don't believe me? I got the receipts. We call it green, but it's only white. Where's the women, the black folks, and the people of color? Native Americans got a nickel. A nickel! People don't even stop and pick up a nickel off the side. 7 million Americans have no bank account. 20 million are underbanked.
So yeah, I don't want to get copyright strike. We might already have because of that song in the background. But that ad was particularly disgusting because, again, not only are you giving people bad financial advice, which is to invest in this scam that you're almost certainly going to lose money in the process of doing so. But not only that, but literally pitching it to marginalized communities, people that have been, historically excluded from our financial system and from the benefits of it, and the economy in general. And I feel like the line of logic, again, from Dore here and Max Kaiser is kind of similar in that, again, they're not just saying, oh, invest in this if you want to make some money. No, they're trying to sell it as if it's some tool for activists and a good way to fight back against the establishment and all this crap, which, again, I find to be particularly dishonest and insidious.
Oh, obviously, but they can't sell it as a good financial investment to people, right? So how are they going to hawk it to you? Oh, it's activism, right? Oh, he thinks you're such a stupid fucking mark, and half of you are. Some of you guys really break my brain with how fucking stupid you are. The fact that you can't see through this, he's literally reversed his entire platform. He's not right-wing, actually. He's the most left-wing. That's why he does paid ad reads and constantly fucking praises the rat. Yeah, you guys are real galaxy brain people over here. I can't fucking believe it. Also, shout out to our friends over at the RBN network. They just did a fucking hilarious post-duopoly stream with the candidate in the Democratic Party. I love how that logic works. It's only post-duopoly if they call it that. Just a complete farce over here. Gotta love those guys. Still waiting for their stream about how Jimmy Dore has sacrificed all of his credibility by doing paid ad reads, something that they loved to bring up about TYT, and they never even technically did paid ad reads. They just did investments from shareholders.
They did do paid ad reads for various VPNs and stuff like that. They have
that's cringe. Okay.
One time they had this weird bank sponsor TYT that was like, if you invest in this bank, like some of the money goes to innovating climate, green technology. Like if you want to bank ethically, this is your outlet to do so. Like just super cringy shit like that.
Okay, well, he's on their level then. The same shit that he used to berate them for they took Jeffrey Katzenberg money. Now I guarantee you he's got Sachs or Thiel or somebody's fucking money pumping through his fucking show.
Oh yeah, I mean he's on Callin and Rumble, which is a joint project of Sachs and Thiel, so he is on their payroll 100%. Also, speaking of the paid ad reads, that crypto segment was not a paid ad read. That was just a guest he had on to talk about crypto because I guess he's that dumb. But this one is a paid ad read, and this is a pretty recent development. I never remember seeing Jimmy Dore read an ad or have any sort of sponsorship. But apparently that's changing now. I guess he decided he doesn't have enough money, even though he's sold out to the right wing, pandering to them constantly, and grifting them to the tune of millions of dollars. Apparently that's not enough. Now he also needs Field of Greens to come in and pay him a little bit more to hawk their bullshit on his show.
Yeah, really fucking hilarious. And again, I want you to know that Jimmy can no longer ever again call himself a viewer-funded platform. He has to call himself a corporate platform now. And you know what? Even if we set aside the fact that he's on the platforms of these ghouls, We're on the platform of ghouls too, right? People in glass houses can't be throwing stones. This shit right here, the literal most compromising thing that you could do. The literal most compromising. This lets me know he's left his 100%. He's left his morals aside. He's going to go where the money is. I mean, the Bitcoin thing reinforced that. Obviously, all of his other fucking dog shit takes over the last year and a half. This is it. This is it, guys. All he wants to be is the great value Tucker Carlson. I can see it. I can see it now. And he thinks that he thinks he's on the cusp of it.
4 to 6 servings of vegetables and fruit. Of course, nobody does. So a way to make up for it, they have this called, if you like superfood, Field of Greens. This is actually food. It's not a supplement. They take the food, the vegetables and fruits, and they turn them into a powder.
This is what happens to you if you take too much horse medicine, by the way. You have to start getting your food like this. You have to make sure that you're getting, your fresh cut grass, your Field of Greens, otherwise you don't know what'll happen to you, man. This is what happens. He's paying the price right now. He wants to talk about vaccine injuries. Let's talk about his ivermectin use, because I think this is like, methadone for ivermectin.
And then you take that powder and you put a scoop of it in your water or whatever, or you can with milk or whatever you want to mix it with. I mix it with water. I like how it tastes. It tastes like iced tea.
Oh my God. This is why, another reason, by the way, regardless of our morality and ethical objections, this is why I could never do these fucking sponsorships. Like, unless I seriously believed in the product and it was something that I genuinely used every day and really liked, I just couldn't do it. It's just like, it's such obvious fucking acting. You could tell that Jimmy Dore doesn't actually drink Field of Greens fucking vegetable powder or whatever. Like, it's not something he does. It's not just something he would do if he wasn't being paid to talk about. And you can just sense the lack of authenticity in his voice. You can just tell he's phoning it in for money. It's so fucking humiliating. I can do this.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%. Imagine, we were making jokes about how last night about how Montucky Cold Snack could sponsor our podcast, but even then we wouldn't actually do it because we'd be like, can't betray our audience's trust like that, and that would be a fucking just a random yard beer company, but it was a joke.
And fresh cut grass, but in the best way. And they have others. This is the original. They have other flavors, but
that's an ivermectin Joneser.
Fresh cut grass, but in the best way. And fresh cut grass, but in the best way. And they have others. This is the original. They have other flavors, but anyway. So I don't get my fruits and vegetables. I only really eat twice a day, maybe even less than that. So I take this. I started to anyway, and I'll let you know. I mean, look how good my hair looks and everything already. So anyway, you could get.
Is he
a deal
alleging
on
that
this.
there's
If you like this,
biotin's what makes your hair grow?
you could get a deal on this. If you like this kind of thing, this is good for you. So it's called. Go to fieldofgreens.com.
If you like this kind of thing, maybe I could hook you up. Maybe you listen to your Uncle Jimmy over here. You're looking for your Field of Greens. I got some greens for you. Huh? Real, organic, superfood. Huh? Look at me. Look at your Uncle Jimmy. Huh? Look at this body right here. Huh? I will only show you with my torso up because I don't want you to see the rest. You will be shocked at how good it looks because I've been eating all this Field of Greens. Just fucking ridiculous.
15% off your first thing. And then if you want to have a subscription that keeps coming, like I guess every month or something, you could get 10% off that. So use the promo code Jimmy, go to Field of Greens and get your superfood. It's a superfood. It's real. It's organic. It's nothing bad in there. And it's real
bad
food.
in there. It's real
good
food.
for you. Look at that. All right.
I
So
love
if you're into
when they
that,
have to sell it. Hey guys, don't worry. This is 100% real, whatever the fuck it is. Don't worry. It's 100% real cow's milk. Like, what the fuck were you gonna give me, bro? Like, oh, this is real cheese, bro. I don't want anything that you have to specify as real. Like, it should be obvious to me that it's real. Green powder, in a supplement, a plastic jar. Yeah, I probably gonna pass on that.
LOL. JR Jr. says the ground rhino horn and crab supplements I've added to my regimen have really unlocked a new level of physical and psychic intensity. Yeah, it's honestly, I don't think we're very far off, JR Jr., from Jimmy Dore hawking ground rhino horn and crab supplement. I mean, it starts with the Field of Greens. It starts with the Athletic Greens bullshit. And that's where it ends up. I promise you.
Bro, remember when RFKJ took that picture with Aubrey Marcus? Okay, the dude that literally founded On It, which is the fucking horseshit supplement company that Joe Rogan hawked for years on his podcast. It was like a picture of him and Aubrey Marcus, and then he tweets about like how much he likes Elon Musk. I don't know, Gavin retweeted it, I'm pretty sure. That guy, that's the direction that Jimmy Dore is going. You're about to hear him try. I guarantee you, in a heartbeat, Jimmy Dore would take a sponsorship from On It, and he would talk about, yeah, look, Joe Rogan loves this stuff. Okay, everybody, look at Joe Rogan. Look at him. Look at how great he looks. I fucking love Joe Rogan. I can't wait till Joe Rogan has me back on his show. And did you know that he's been the longest sponsor of On It? And Joe Rogan takes this stuff, and so do I. And we take it because we love it because, you know, Joe Rogan is a really great guy. Please also watch my podcast.
Yep, I honestly think that's where we're heading. This is super, super cringy stuff, guys. And yeah, thanks for keeping track of all the F-bombs.
I love that. I feel like Martin Scorsese. I'm going for my Wolf of Wall Street show today.
What we really need is a little counter at the bottom of the screen that goes up every time it's said. We try to reach like 150 per show or something like that. But anyway, yeah, this is absolutely hysterical stuff. Yeah, I mean, God, I just can't imagine stooping to this level. I can't imagine having to sell you guys something, take you guys, my audience that at least potentially to some extent trusts us and comes to us for analysis. I just can't imagine turning around and selling you guys bullshit. Like, again, maybe if it was a product that I actually used and like and have been a long time customer of, then maybe I would do it. Even then I wouldn't, but I'm just saying, like, maybe I could see the point of that. But just some bullshit powdered vegetables that you don't actually use, that you don't actually trust, and you're just selling it to your audience and trying to convince them to buy it because they paid you. I do find that pretty gross, especially if you're gonna do a lefty show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if I ever quit actually bartending and, got up my ass that I was going to be a bartending YouTuber, like I would definitely let them send me the alcohol that I use on the show for free so that I don't have to use it. But I like the philosophy that the dude Greg from How to Drink, and he seems like he's a pretty base lefty. He straight up will not let them send him anything and advertise anything that he doesn't actually like. And I've watched him rip like shit to shreds on that fucking show and then like never get them to reach out to him again. Like the Barfly equipment, he was like, this shit is kind of dog shit. And they fucking rip their they don't do like business with it. Anyway. So you want to have that credibility and trust, even if you're not doing a lefty show, I feel like, to be like, hey man, like I'm going to give my honest analysis. Like you guys can't buy me. I feel like that's how you build trust with any kind of an audience. And I get that a lot of people are like, well, all podcasts read ads. Yeah, the whole differentiator that Jimmy staked his whole reputation on and constantly lambasted people who did way more serious journalism than he will ever dream of, like Ryan Grimm. And look, man, this is a criticism that I share of the structure of First Look Media and The Intercept. Okay. But they're at least a non-for-profit. Now, at this point, Jimmy has put himself in an even worse position as far as media credibility goes, where he's just a for-profit guy who's decided that he doesn't have enough and he needs to make even more money by lowering his fucking credentials and saying, I am going to become a corporate media person instead of an independent media person, which is how I built my whole brand. And oh, by the way, I'm going to continue to lie to you because I think you're so fucking dumb and all you care about is what I parrot back to you, which is some like fucking revised, regurgitated version of your own belief system, and you just won't care. You're going to just clap like seals anyway.
Absolutely. Also, by the way, bro, do you know that superfood isn't even a real thing? That's just a term that corporations came up with to market this kind of bullshit to you. Like, there's no actual such thing as a superfood. And to whatever extent this powdered vegetable bullshit is actually healthy, it definitely doesn't qualify as an actual superfood. I'm going to guess that the vast majority of the nutrients and fiber that actually comes from eating vegetables is lost in translation when you just put it into fucking powder form. It kind of reminds me of the juicing craze. Remember when everyone got super into juicing everything? But then it came out that actually when you juice vegetables, you're getting rid of all the fiber and all the stuff that's actually really healthy about vegetables. And to be honest, what's left behind is mostly a lot of sugar and some stuff that is, healthy for you, but you're basically losing all of the best parts of the vegetable, like the fiber. And I, don't quote me, but I'm going to guess the same thing applies to this powdered vegetable trend that we see with companies like this one and with Athletic Greens. But yeah, superfoods aren't even a real thing.
Oh yeah, and on top of that, don't you love how Jimmy is really, really skeptical about like big pharma and the FDA until it comes to stupid shit like this, where he can't make money off of being a skeptic? It's like, oh, I'm super skeptical about big pharma and the FDA is fucking, lobbying this on all the capitalist influence. But let me just go ahead and hawk Brickhouse Nutrition, Field of Greens supplements to my audience. Yeah, I bet you the list of ingredients in that shit is a mile long, by the way. Okay, it's never a short list of their dried carrots, dried spinach. No, I guarantee you not on the back. I guarantee you it's a bunch of shit none of us can pronounce. So there's that for Mr. Skeptic over there. And on top of that, you're completely right, Gavin. It's not only just the fiber being good for you, it's the fact that in order to properly digest and absorb the vitamins and minerals that we need, it has to come in with the fiber, right? That's how human evolution fucking worked. That's how our body has learned to survive over all these years. And a good way to validate that, something that a lot of people will know if you've worked with it a lot, but it might be surprising to people who've never tasted it before. If you juice a carrot, right? Everybody knows what the fuck a carrot tastes like. It's not a sweet fruit at all. It's a vegetable, right? It has a crispness and a certain sweetness to it if you get a really nice juicy carrot, but nobody would ever go so far as to characterize that as sweet, right? If you juice carrots, that juice that comes out is sweet. Why? Because exactly what you said, Gavin, it concentrates the sugar, and that shit is way less good for you than just drinking or than just eating a regular. It's good in a cocktail, right? Because it's a really interesting experience. It's bright orange, pairs really well with like a tequila or mezcal, but it's not healthy.